This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? I'm back for another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is pro basketball player Jeff Adrien. Jeff, how's it going?
Good, man. Just chilling up in Nairi, Israel. Grinding out every day, you know.
Yeah.
How you?
Good. Appreciate you coming on.
No doubt. Anytime.
So let's go back in time. How did you first get involved in basketball?
My fifth grade teacher signed me up for recreation basketball in Brookline. And I've been playing pretty much organized basketball ever since then.
You just fell in love with it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, I played football, basketball, and baseball. A little bit of soccer.
All right. What about in which sports did you play in high school?
High school, my freshman year, I played all three sports. I stopped playing football. My sophomore year, I played baseball and basketball. My junior year, I stopped playing baseball and I just played basketball. And then my senior year, I came back and I played football and basketball.
Gotcha. And I always ask people this, because everyone has a different story. What was your recruiting process like? I know you went to a year of prep school too.
It was cool. It was exciting, actually. I remember getting letters, and at first it was like the letters was amazing to me. I thought it was one of the greatest things ever. And then as soon as I started going to these bigger tournaments, these being on the Nike circuit and seeing these coaches firsthand, and then actually getting the word of mouth, word from my AAU coach that this school has interest in me and stuff like that, it became more like the letters were great, but these verbal, these verbal words and these verbal talks with I knew my AAU coach wouldn't steer me wrong or anything like that. That was it right there. That opened my mind up to, believing that I could play high Division I basketball.
Yeah. Do you remember what your first letter or your first offer was?
I don't remember exactly. It could have been from maybe UNH, University of New Hampshire. Yeah. There's a few New England schools. I remember going to Providence college basketball games, then getting letters. Yeah. I didn't really get letters saying, hey, we want to recruit. I was already talking to the coach and I already knew they wanted me. So the letters I would get was more hey, it was nice talking to you the other day, such and such. We have, we want you here, such and such like that. They'll probably send me some stats. Before I got letters of handwritten letters, I was just getting school information on the school and stuff like that. So at first it was probably just the basic, hey, we have interest in you, and they probably send that to a lot of kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I would get their information on who they play. I remember UNH played Florida that year, and I just seen that stat, and they was just trying to get me to, obviously have some interest in them and say hey, we do play high schools, but I already knew in my mind that I wanted to play high schools every game.
Yeah.
So I just believed, and eventually, I never got I don't think I got a letter from UConn. I remember Coach Calhoun was there, and he was like, hey, we're going to offer you pretty much right there and then. That was it. Then UCLA and all these other schools came. It was never hey, we're going to offer. There was never a letter saying hey, we're offering you. It was more verbal and all that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm assuming it was way different back then. That was what was that in 2005-ish?
2004, 2005, because I went to prep school for a year. But 2004, I was still getting letters.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I'm saying it's probably way different now. I mean, I know it's way different now. People are getting flooded. They just throw everybody a letter. I mean, and it's way easier to access players now.
Right.
So what was your ultimate? So how did the UConn thing come about? You were at a AAU tournament or something?
Yeah, I was at the Peach Jam. I was Peach Jam in South Carolina. It's a Nike circuit, and we played Team Texas, first game of the tournament, and I just balled out that game. I had a great game. We won, and pretty much UConn offered me right there, not face to face, but they was talking to my coach at the time, it was Leo Papillo, and was they had interest, and pretty much will offer you. Leo was talking to me about some other stuff, and then I kept playing. They kept coming to the games, and they just liked the way I played, and they kept with it. And I'm sure that's when I probably started getting. Well, it was in the summertime. I was just probably getting the phone call or whatever it was, and other schools started calling. So I was having conversations with them. Arizona, UCLA, like I said, Kansas, Pittsburgh. So all these schools was coming at me during this Peach Jam tournament back in the summer of I want to say 2004.
Gotcha. And then
back in the summer of 2004.
And then what was your ultimate decision to pick UConn?
Then that summer I went on since I reclassified, I had 5 new official visits. Yeah. So I went to Pittsburgh and I went to UConn. I cut it down from Pittsburgh, UConn, and Kansas. And I took the visit to UConn, obviously. It was kind of close. I took the visit to Pittsburgh. And after the Pittsburgh trip, I was like, I was kind of tired, too. I was like, you know what? I don't even think I need to go to Kansas because I was already on the road that whole summer. And I was like, I don't think I need to go to Kansas. I already have the feeling that, I know I have the feeling. I know where I want to go. And that was UConn. And there was still some schools sending me letters, actually. But it was still it wasn't enough. A letter at the time wasn't enough. A phone call would have been better. Yeah. But it was that was pretty much it right there and then. That's how I knew that summer going into prep school I wanted to go to UConn.
Gotcha. And then overall, what was your experience like at UConn?
It was unbelievable. It was everything that I imagined. I remember taking visits to my senior year to Wright State and Nebraska, schools like that, and I was just I was amazed by them, just by their life, their culture, and everything, and they impressed me. It was a good visit, but I knew if I went to such and such school, I know it would be even better of an experience, and it would be a lot closer to home. Yeah. And UConn was just pretty much everything. It was almost all those schools in one, so yeah, it made it easier. Obviously, it was UConn, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. And then I'm sure your family got to go to your games and stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah. And then what did it mean to you to become named captain of the team's senior year?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was going into UConn, I never really thought about it. I just thought about playing. Yeah. But since I was really one of the youngest players, and then all of a sudden I became one of the oldest players, within a year, I really took notes. I really learned how to become a leader, how to become a good student athlete, how to get stuff done at a high level, playing basketball and being a student. And from then on, I pretty much had to, lead by example. Not every day was, the way you want it to go, but you still find ways to get stuff done and to pass it along. And so pretty much from sophomore year to senior year, I had to, reinvent certain things and still remember things that the past had taught me. So, it was great. It was a great experience. On and off the court, being a captain was a great experience. And especially on the court, that was where, natural abilities, natural stuff came to effect. Leading by example in the weight room. If we had to do sprints, just being out there and with the guys and, running with them, trying to finish first or whatever, pushing guys, whatever it is, whatever the case was, I found a way to get it done and to help others. Yeah. I think that's what, I've learned. That's what I learned from the past guys before me, and I was glad to, pass it along.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the rosters, and it was your freshman year, I think it was mostly a lot of juniors and seniors and that left for the NBA and stuff. And then I think I want to say your sophomore and junior year, you guys had no seniors.
We had no seniors, right. Yeah. We didn't have a senior. There was some older guys. There was the walk-ons. Yeah. I can't say I did it all by myself, but there was still walk-ons. There was Craig Austrie still there. There was Marcus Johnson. There was still guys that helped, that we all grew together and helped grow, other guys that came on after us.
Gotcha. And then going into the NBA draft, 2009, what were your expectations and like what kind of training did you go through?
Well, okay, my expectation was obviously to get drafted. That's all our expectations was at UConn was basically, you're a student athlete, you play basketball, you do well in school and hopefully go play professional basketball at the highest level or, overseas like I'm doing now, which is nothing wrong with that. So at the time, probably thinking like, I want to get drafted. Probably doesn't matter where. I probably felt like I earned to get drafted, but sitting back now, it's not always about what you feel or what you thought you earned. It's really, I guess, the way the ball bounced, So I look back at it. My senior year after the Final Four, I went to train actually out west with a couple other college guys, and my draft workouts, all that started, and it was different because the game was different. It wasn't college basketball. There's a lane, there's 3 seconds, there's all these things you got to learn. Me being on the sides, I had to understand the game even more, where I had to find my spots and learn my spots, and had to develop, certain more of a game. I had to develop a game besides just trying to bully people or whatever I was doing in college. Right. It wasn't all about that. So I went out there and I trained with guys, did some sand dune workouts, individual basketball skill work. Then I went to all these workouts. I went to a lot of workouts. I didn't go to forget that camp in Virginia, but I didn't go to that. I went to the combine. I got invited to the combine. Did the draft, did all those tests. I had pretty good workouts, but obviously, the ball didn't bounce the way it bounced that day. Everything happens for a reason. I still found a way to make it. Yeah. And
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did that, being undrafted, did that fuel your fire?
Yeah, definitely at the time. Yeah, it had to, because me growing up watching pretty much NBA basketball like every night, Celtics especially, with Ray Allen being on the team, and just before that, like watching the Bulls growing up and the Lakers and all, just all these teams, just watching basketball. It's just obviously the thing to do if you play basketball. And your style of play was not on TV as much, so it wasn't too intriguing to me. It never was not in my picture. It was not something I didn't want to do. Obviously, I did it. Right after college, and even that helped me learn to help me make it to the NBA, help me make the Golden State Warriors. So all that stuff was all learning and learning the game was all a process, and it all, to me, I benefited from it. I definitely learned from every second. I grew, I became better. I started understanding my skill, and like I said, it helped me make it to the highest level of basketball.
Yeah, definitely. So your first season, you went over to Spain. So what was that like, just going overseas?
Well, that was different. That's when that's the first time me leaving the country, by myself, not as a baby. This is totally different. I'm going to Spain. I'm away from my mom. Now I'm more than an hour and a half away from my mom. Yeah. That was just a completely different thing. Something I'm I knew some teams had advised me. I can remember the Spurs and the Celtics. Spurs would say, hey, get a passport. Celtics was like, hey, we would draft you, but we're going to keep you overseas. So there was certain things that there was hints. There was definitely people looking out and pretty much letting me know, hey, get ready. It's never over, but get ready to go play basketball somewhere else. And that's what happened. So reality, I had to face reality. I went over there, and I played pretty well. It wasn't like college. When I first got out there, I felt like it was simple. It could have been close to college, but it wasn't. It was totally different. The lane was a trapezoid lane, I think, at the time, or either way, it was a trapezoid lane or it was a wider lane. So my post-up game was a little different. I had to adjust to that. I had to adjust to the travel, slowing down my first step a little bit just to, not travel. All that stuff was a learning experience. And at the same time, I was playing for money. So, it was my first time doing all that.
For sure.
We had a pretty good year. We went to the playoffs. But I knew during the time, I wanted to be back home. I was still staying up, watching NBA games and all that. And I knew, the next season, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay over there. If I had to go to the D-League, I'm going to do that. And, that's what pretty much happened. I made it. I got cut. I went to the D-League, and I made it again. And,
So going into that year, what was your first NBA game? I know you signed with the Warriors.
First NBA game, we played the Lakers, and I want to say it was on Halloween or...
Yeah, I think it was, yep.
Yeah, it was on Halloween. I wore orange sneakers.
Oh, were they still wearing the... Yeah, they were... You had the old jerseys on, the Navy ones, right?
No, they still had the blue. Kind of they kind of switched it up this year, but it was still like that.
The royal blue.
The royal blue with the yellow and stuff like that, the bridge and all that. So it was a Halloween game. It was on the road. It was no. Actually, my first game was against Houston. Actually, that was my first road game. My bad. Yeah. First road game. They introduced me. They did all that. I came down from the bleachers. I had no idea I was gonna play. Coach called my number. Coach Smart called me, and I played that game. And I was real nervous. I remember I was nervous. But I don't think I played bad. I don't think I did anything special that night. But most likely, I probably made a presence. I probably did something, to obviously to stay around for a little bit. And eventually, I stayed for a little bit during that time. Due to injury, I think that's the reason why I got cut the first time from Golden State. If that didn't happen, I think I would have been there probably the whole entire year. But, things happen. Yeah. But, I remember I played Houston. And eventually, then Houston was the next team I played for. So
yeah. That's pretty ironic, huh? And then the following year, there was a lockout. So you went to Italy, and then you came back, and then you were on the Rockets. So that must have been another crazy year because you were back and forth. Unintentional.
That definitely was. But I definitely had, good guys around. I had a good vet in Brian Scalabrine out there in Italy playing with me, Etwan Moore, that's still in the league, Alex Gentile that made a run. That's, he's pretty popular in Europe. And Monty Eunice that ended up playing in Houston too. So I was still, young at the time. And Brian was there, and he would, keep me, level-headed because, obviously there was no NBA at the time, but I knew the game was totally different, and he knew the game was totally different. So the coach, was a little different. He was real tough. Djordjevic, which, now I look back at it, I was like, wow, he's a great coach. Now I look back, his success from then until now has been, very good, top in Europe. I'm very lucky. I got to be coached by him, and he definitely, he pushed us. It was a good team. We definitely had to, be pushed. We was young. We was good. We had talent. He definitely, we wasn't there too long, but there was a point where, close to where the lockout ended, we started putting a lot of things together, and it was kind of too late. And I was like the last one to be, to go back. Each one went back. Brian went back, and then I went back to the league, to the NBA. While Gal McHale, he ended up playing for Dallas eventually. While they stayed and had to play basketball without us, guys that's playing at the highest level. Gentile eventually went to Milan, and so the team was definitely different. It was a whole different team, but you could tell that we had talent. All those guys, 5 or 6 guys from that team played NBA basketball. So that was definitely a great experience. Then I went to Houston, and that was an experience of its own. The whole style, everything of it was, a learning experience of it. It was a great learning experience.
Yeah.
This is the nature of the game. So, I got cut again. And I didn't think I should have got cut, but, it is what it is. And I went back overseas to Europe. I went to Kimki and played basketball again. Went to the finals. Went to the Russian League finals. We lost to Cheska. That was it. And there was a few years after that. I went back to the NBA and I stayed for a little bit longer. I don't think I got cut or anything.
You're with the Bobcats, right?
Right. Stayed with the Bobcats.
What was that? What was that like playing with Kemba again?
It was cool, man. It was definitely great. Playing with him, knowing his work ethic, knowing my work ethic, and helping him. Obviously, because I've obviously was in the league before, helping him, grow and become, a player that he needs to be, and now who he is now. Definitely, I enjoyed all that. I enjoyed, being around all the younger guys at the time, and doing things that we weren't supposed to be doing. Like we went into Chicago in New Year's and we won a road game after losing like 17 straight. That was my first year in the Bobcats. Like that was great. That was fun right there. We had a lot of fun time. We obviously wasn't gonna make the playoffs, but we knew that at any given day if we came together we could really make some noise and beat a team and beat decent teams, beat very good teams I should say. Yeah. Well, at the time the Bulls was probably number 1 seed in the East or close to it. And we beat them at their crib, and that was real memorable. My first year with the Bobcats.
Gotcha. And then you went on. You actually got traded the following year from the Bobcats. So what was that like getting traded?
That was different because now we're the team that's we're 6th or 7th, the 8th seed now, and I'm part of a team that I know my role now. I know when certain players go down or whatever get hurt. I know I'm going to be ready, and the coach is going to play me this amount of minutes, and I already know what to expect. So now I feel I feel better about myself. I feel more confident. I know I'm going to fill in the role, and we're going to win. A lot of the times we won a lot of games. And, I got traded. They kept playing well. They made the playoffs, so I felt like I still made the playoffs. But at the same time, I know that I got a chance to expand my game. I got a chance to show my game where I wasn't playing just 15 minutes. Now I'm playing 20, 25, 15, 20, 25. Obviously I earned the minutes to finish out the year, to play 30 games with the Bucks and actually play pretty much all 30 games and play well and, do things that I'm sure nobody ever expected to me to do was great. Even though I got traded from Charlotte, and everything, they went on and went to the playoffs. I went on and played great basketball, probably the best basketball I ever played in my life. And so, at that time, both teams, well, for me, I should say both parties won. I didn't end up signing with the Bucks, but I helped Giannis grow. I feel now he's obviously an MVP, so I'm playing with Giannis. I helped Chris grow, Brandon Knight. Those guys, those 30 games, we built something, and I helped build something, and now you're watching it now. You're watching Ilya Silva play basketball with them. There's still a lot of those guys on the team, and, you see how great they are now, and I felt like I was a part of that also.
Yeah, for sure. And then your following year, you played for the Timberwolves, and I know Kevin Garnett was on there, so what was that like?
Well, KG came on after I left. I got cut.
Damn.
But me watching KG throughout my high school career, my college career, and a little bit obviously in my professional career, he always motivated me. Even though I played against him. I met him maybe once, but just his intensity. His desire of playing defense, him wanting to be the anchor. He didn't think about scoring like that. He knew his role. He knew what it took to be great and help the Celtics win a championship. And I always admired that. I always, enjoyed watching him do that, be a defensive anchor for the Celtics. at the time, and I felt like I carried that like with me without him even knowing it. I felt like I was just maybe, you could call me a smaller KG, not as tall as him, not as big as him, but his intensity defensively, like his talk, his communication on the court, his leadership. Yeah. I took a lot of notes. And I also had Ray Allen that would come in and at UConn, mm-hmm. and tell us like how vocal KG is and such, and he would pass it to Hashim and also pass it to me, obviously. And I took notes. I paid attention to that when he was when he would talk to us about stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I didn't play with KG. I played against him.
Did he talk trash to you?
Nah. I think because he didn't talk trash to me. I don't know why. It doesn't. So I guess it is what it is. Yeah. But no, it wasn't like that with me and KG.
And then I know the last 3 years you've been killing it over in Israel. You've been All-Star 3 years in a row. So what's that been? What's it been like in Israel?
Well, like the first 2 years has been. I should say the first year was great. We did a lot of things, a lot of great things. Got a lot of wins. Got a lot of European wins. Made All-Star. We was winning. Mm-hmm. And the next year was more like we didn't win as much, but personally, like I played great basketball again. I scored at a pretty great rate. Rebound at a pretty good rate. I defended, did all that at a pretty good rate. It just didn't translate to winning. Yeah. And then the last year, like I know you mentioned All-Star 3 years in a row. It's the last year. It was cool. It's cool always to be an All-Star, but it's also better to win. Like I know I probably would have felt better to win and be an All-Star. Like like it just feels better. Like my second year, I know there was the effort. Like I ended up getting Player of the Month, so that's why like my second year wasn't like, it's like I still think I deserve to be an All-Star. I'm not saying last year I didn't deserve to be one, but like we didn't win like we should have. Yeah. It's not the same like my first or second year. It's been cool. Like I'm playing basketball. I'm playing. Like that's all I really wanted to do was play basketball at a professional high level. Yeah. Compete.
Gotcha. All right, I got a few more, and then I'll let you go. What advice would you give a young basketball player trying to get a D1 scholarship or trying to go pro?
D1 scholarship, trying to go pro. Out of high school, trying to go pro?
No, I mean like or trying to get a D1 scholarship, or like a player like going from college to pro.
I would tell them to like my college coach used to tell me to get my work done early. Mm-hmm. Meaning like if you put in the work, if you do what you need to do, everything else is out your hands. You can't really worry about what you can't control. So if you put in the work, if you ran that extra mile, you've already did it, you did it early, you got up early, and you got your extra shots, there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to panic about. There's a lot of things that certain players, a lot of players can't control. And, at a young age, nobody was really there to like, let me know like the politics of the game. So now I know like a little bit more of it. Mm-hmm. But for guys that's coming into the game, I would tell them not to worry, not to think too deeply about, am I going to get this scholarship, or am I going to get drafted, or am I going to get this, or am I going to sign this contract overseas? Mm-hmm. All that stuff's out of your hands. If you put in the work and you put the time in, you have nothing to worry about because somebody's always watching.
Especially now with social media.
Right.
All right, so last ones, I got some fun ones. They're going to go from average to savage. You ready?
Average to savage?
Yeah. All right. What's your favorite song right now?
Average to savage. My favorite song right now. Let me see what I'm listening to one second. My phone's real low. I got a few songs. The West, King Combs. I listen to that. You know, real laid back mellow jam right now.
What do you listen to like before the game?
Sometimes I don't listen. Some days it varies. Some days it varies. I don't always listen to music every time.
All right.
Crazy Story, King Vaughn. You know.
All right, I gotta check these out. What about why do you wear number 4?
Number 4. There's a few reasons. I'm gonna give you a couple. I remember growing up, my high school number was really 31, and you could almost say it's retired because it was really like, you know, real special times. You know, I did a lot of special things with that number, so it's kind of hard to repeat it, but so I kind of haven't worn it since. But I knew 4 would be something I would like, and I think I'm still finding out the meanings of why I like 4 still to this day. And I think one of the reasons why I remember watching Chris Porter and Kenya Martin back in the day, and they both wore number 4 in college basketball. And you know, I like the way the number looked. You know, the whole, you know, just everything about it. Just a single digit number. It was sleek. It was nice, and to me, it fit me. And so those 2 reasons right there. I remember the challenge when I got to UConn, when Coach Moore told me, when I told him I wanted to wear 4, he told me, you know who wore this number? I was like, yeah, Ben Gordon. He's like, you know, that's big shoes to fill. To me, that was a challenge right there. Yeah. He challenged me there, you know, to obviously keep the number going, keep it, you know, doing what it's supposed to be doing, like BG did right before I got there, right before me. So that was another challenge. And then through life, there was just all these other meanings, more meanings that just kept coming to me to why, you know, I chose a number. And I think to this day, I'm still finding out more meanings, more reasons why, you know, I like 4.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And then last one, what do you like to do when you're not playing basketball? What do you like to do in your free time?
I brainstorm a lot, I think. I know I brainstorm a lot. I like to come up with new ideas. I chill. I shop online a little bit.
You play any video games?
Play video games. Yeah, play video games. Play Madden, 2K, Spider-Man. Yeah, I do a little bit of everything. You know, sometimes I go to Top Golf, work on my golf game. You know, I don't think I'm there yet. I think I'm still young. I don't think I need to play golf yet. But just, you know, this not too things out of the ordinary. You know, not nothing like, you know, outlandish or anything like that. It's just, you know, I probably brainstorm a lot.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and could you let the people know where they can follow you on social media?
Yeah, you can follow me at the underscore reason
with the 4
THE_RE the number 4 S0N, and you can follow me.
All right, again, I appreciate you coming on.
No doubt. I appreciate you, Paul.